Good morning, I'm Juicy Jones. This is Orbital Vaping Headquarters, and you're tuned in to Vaping Dawn to Dusk. It's our Saturday morning show where you chill and hang out, and we interview people and get their vaping stories. And today, I'm very excited because the vaping story we're going to get today is from Patrick Riffe, who is on the board of Vaping Militia and a friend of the channel, and I love this guy, and I can't wait for you guys to meet him. Let me just show you the cool intro that I've got. Patrick Riffe, Son of Liberty Radio, yay! But very first, we're just going to talk for a few minutes. I'll tell you guys what's up. We're doing tons of Instagram Live. We probably do 9 hours a week of that or more. And you guys get to see behind the scenes and everything. So make sure you tune in to that. It's at Instagram.com/JuicyJonesHQ, just like this channel. And there's still a few days left. There's only a Wednesday at the very end of January. I'm doing the giveaway for the first year on YouTube. So I'm giving away some T-shirts, Vaping Dawn to Dusk mod from Nuve Mods. Thank you so much, Luis Cruz, for making this for me, and from Vapor & Co., the stainless steel goon, and also giving away some Limitless mods and T-shirts on my page. Watch the video called Sarcas Vapes and the 2016 giveaway, and I'll put a little card in here too for you to click on. But all you gotta do is watch the video and I tell you how to enter. So what else is going on? We have tons of stuff from OBS, like the V tank here that has coil compatibility with the TFV8, which is crazy, and holds 6.5 mils of liquid, maybe even more. It's gigantic. And so reviews of this coming. We're starting some Texas Tough Cotton. Make sure you check out that where I opened it up. And Van Gogh Vape sent me some more stuff. And AZ Swag Sauce. We still have lots of the flavors to try on this thing. So I have tons and tons of stuff to do. And we're making a 2700 mod. And that's being designed as we speak. The hardware is all finished. All we have to do now is get the artwork on it. I'm pretty excited. My friend Scott's doing the art. It's going to be great. And we'll have a new look and feel in the channel as well. So that'll be really cool. Scott is one of the premier graphic designers in the entire world. And I worked with him, 20 years ago? I love the guy. He's amazing. And he's going to do some design for the channel, make us look good. Okay, but I don't want to waste too much time. What I want to do first, definitely, is say thank you to everybody in chat. Let me go over to chat and see who's in and say hi before we grab Patrick. And I wanted to see, look, we got Chris, Crazy, Leighton's Life, Michaela, TD, Ruffs, James, Andrew, Double D's, M's, everybody. You guys are great. And I want to remind everybody, go to doubleD's.uk, DOUBLEDS.uk, and get a decal, because we have decal stickers. Where are those? Oh, I'm on the wrong view. I had a little sticker to put up, but I'll show it in just a minute. But download or buy a sticker. You can get them in any size you want. They default to the size for the Noisy Cricket 2, goes right on there, 56 millimeters, and they're not expensive. Buy a billion of them. Show your love for the channel. And soon we'll have t-shirts and everything else too. So I hope all of you are having a great morning. I hope you all had a great week. I can't wait to get to Patrick and talk to him and get his vapor story. He's been vaping for a long, long time. He barely needs an introduction. He's on the board of the Vaping Militia, does tons of vape shows. He's an advocate extraordinaire and has a podcast every single week on Son of Liberty Radio, which frequent viewers will know that that's the same channel that Dimitri started, which, if you remember his interview when he came on here, he told us all about that and how he was starting it up. So I am just so excited to bring Patrick on, and I'm going to let him free here. I'm going to turn on the mixer, unmute him, bring his video in. Are we here? Hey, Patrick.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good morning, buddy. And in the audience, you guys, y'all tell me if the sound is okay. They'll tell us, right?
I hope so.
Patrick, how are you, my friend? How's stuff?
I'm awesome. It's I have a couple cups of coffee in me now, so the world is not going to end.
I hear you.
I got my nicotine and I got my coffee. So,
Introduce yourself and tell everybody what you're vaping on.
I'm Patrick Riffe. I used to go by Not Noir on Facebook. Some people still call me that, but
yeah.
I started vaping about 6 years ago. Back when it was a baby and it wasn't this behemoth that it is right now. And
we're going to get that whole story in a minute too.
Oh, it's a little bit of a funny story, but it will show the links that we will go to not to make changes in our lives. But what am I vaping right now? I got this really cool box mod in the mail, and it's from my very good friend that's a modder, and
plug it.
It's actually Lazy Vapors _ box mods. on Instagram.
That's
And
beautiful.
this is this is a work of art.
Would you remind me? It's one battery, right? SX chip.
It's an 18650. It's a 75 watt, but he does all sorts of variations on these. I mean, he does unregulated parallel. I don't know all that, unregulated parallel, SX350J dual
Right.
18650s, because I have another one that's here,
That's my favorite one.
and that's a dual
Beautiful.
battery
Those are
one.
beautiful.
Um,
Those are nice.
yeah, his name is Seth. Seth is amazing, and for Christmas I bought this for myself.
And tell
And
everybody what atomizers you have, because
oh,
everybody on Instagram already knows this. But Patrick, we're bond on this. You'll get it immediately.
give me a minute.
Yeah, look. You think I'm the avocado king? Nuh-uh, that's all he's got. Well, he has more, obviously, but yeah.
No, I mean, obviously, there's a
Love the avocado.
Kabuki made by House of Hybrids that's uses an Aspire Nautilus head, actually.
Yeah, and I was gonna say it looks a little bit like that drip tip looks a little bit like the Monstrudo, not the
Oh
bottom,
no,
just the drip tip.
that drip tip is an aftermarket uh, stabilized wood Teketsu, and he's out of Washington State. But
Really?
he's out of business now because of August 8th and everything. So a lot
We
of
did,
people.
we passed a decent law. I don't know, but he
Well,
shouldn't be out of
he had
business.
already shut down before they changed everything. He
That's
was
sad.
so, and then
That
obviously
makes me sad.
my little Wotofo.
Yeah. And what use you vaping on?
The one that this one is actually an e-liquid out of Austin, called Hometown Hero.
Ooh.
And this is you guys are going to think this is weird, but it's a strawberry cream kettle corn.
That's not that crazy. That's like caramel, maybe a little. I can see that. I can get behind that.
And people, this is like their number one selling e-liquid. It's crazy,
Fun.
but yeah, it's great. And they have, let me see if I can pull it
So
out.
it must have like a little bit of a grain taste and a little bit of a caramel taste, kind of like, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
what that boils down to? Nice
And
bottle.
all of their labels have this graffiti art on them.
It looks amazing.
There's a park in Austin where all these graffiti artists do their work, and a percentage of each bottle sold goes to the artist whose artwork is on the label,
That's cool.
and they donate a percentage of their yearly sales to veterans charities.
By the way, that movement is called the ephemeral art movement, and that's what we don't call it graffiti anymore. It's ephemeral art.
Oh well.
Well, because often these walls are sanctioned. Like in Seattle, we have a whole building where the guy said, "Here's your place. That's my wall. Repaint it every month. It's your wall now, right by the train yards, and it's beautiful and it has good light. You can take good pictures." The guy really did a community service. People hang out there and paint the walls, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "This isn't graffiti. It's not random. Like we planned this stuff." So they call it ephemeral art. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
appreciate that they put that in their bottle and then they have local people involved.
and the area of Austin where this is at is also one of those places where it's sanctioned, for the artists to come out
It's
and do
cool.
their work, and it's a community,
It's
like you said.
important. And why the hell shouldn't we have walls people can go paint and repaint? It's so fun. Let me tell you, being involved in that, even if you don't do it well, is fun. Because once those photos are taken and they repaint it, it's gone. You have to do it again. It's good for kids. Um, Patrick, I'm so thrilled to have you, by the way. And I want to say thank you for doing this. I know that you're busy and that you have your whole thing and everybody has their whole thing, but we have lives and I just really appreciate it. And I have ever since that you started tuning into the channel, I've wanted to have you on as another one of my guests here. And so this is great. By the way, I'm vaping this Crimson by Van Gogh Vapes and I'm just dripping it into my Texas stuff. But this Crimson is the blueberry raspberry one, and it's actually pretty damn good. I didn't think I'd like it. So I'm so glad. Thank you for coming on. The family's nice. We're so glad to meet you too. And we can go into chat and see who has come up here, by the way. Chili Dog is here. I love that guy. Michaela's still here. Ryan Berman. People are chatting. Oh, they're chatting. At the end of this, y'all, we're going to take questions and everything from you guys.
So, like, just to throw some stuff out there, recently I've been writing for the Vaping Advocate magazine. I've actually had articles in every issue of that magazine. And there's a new magazine starting out, done by Kevin Skipper, who is
Really? I know Kevin Skipper. Well, Kevin Skipper.
yeah, he's the head of VCC, the Vaping Convention Circuit. And he's putting a magazine together called Breathe or Breath, BRETH. And it's going to have contributors from, Nick Grimm Green's going to do it. I'm doing it.
Sounds good.
Brian Focic, who's a big legislative dude who does. He worked for Enjoy for years, and now he's working for himself as a consultant. Lots of big industry people are going to be contributors to this magazine, so that's going to be a new feather, a new thing for us. So
How are we going to get that? Is it going to be a newsstand thing, or are we going to order it and have it delivered to us?
you're going to be able to subscribe.
Okay.
Eventually, I mean, it would be nice if we eventually could get it distributed through Barnes and Nobles and places like that. But that's not normally the first step. You have to start selling issues and obviously ad space, because that's how magazines pay for themselves. And when it's an educational magazine,
doubly hard.
It's doubly hard. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be one of those lifestyle magazines.
Well, that's cool. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that just happened recently, right? You just started doing that. Before we get into too much more detail about any of that stuff, though, because of course we certainly will, I want everyone to hear your vaping story, because you've been vaping a long time, and that's one of the traditions of Vaping Dawn to Dusk and the Juicy Dones HQ families. We invite people in to tell us their story of how they quit smoking and how long you smoked, and especially the challenges you had along the way. Like, some people it's easy, and some people it's really much, much harder. And we always want to get across the message to all you guys out there that if you're trying to quit smoking, or if you're on the edge, or even if you just vape and you still think about cigarettes, that it's tough, and that we're here with you and we think about this stuff too.
Well, I mean, I started smoking when I was 13. When I was a kid, and this is in the early 80s, early to mid 80s, you could go to like the state fair, and they had exhibit halls with different companies promoting different products. And, you could walk in there as a 13-year-old kid and get a bag and go from booth to booth. And when you left, you would have beech nut tobacco, you would have skull tobacco, a couple packs of cigarettes, all of that stuff. All the stuff that you weren't supposed to have. And it was illegal even then for you to have it, but they gave it to you.
And they were like, oh, he'll give it to his parents, but they knew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I started smoking when I was pretty young, and I smoked all the way through like junior high and high school, and I quit when I went to college for 3 years. And I was out to dinner one night with a friend and his wife, and she was laughing and he was laughing, and I kept saying, "What's going on? Why are you guys laughing?" And finally, the husband said to the wife, "Go ahead and tell him." And I mean, this was a traumatic event for me, but she said, "I had this dream last night." And I was like, "What was the dream about?" And she said, we were having sex." And I'm like, totally just at the moment,
that's so inappropriate.
That was a long time ago,
Yeah, that's so inappropriate.
I was young, and I was just like, "You're like the wife of one of my best friends." I mean, it totally just freaks me out.
So stress, emotional reaction, like
there
boom,
was a pack of cigarettes on the table. I reached over and started smoking, and nobody even noticed. By the end of the meal, the owner of the pack of cigarettes looked down and goes, "Where did all my cigarettes go?" And I had a cigarette in my hand, and I just started smoking again. And then I smoked, and I enjoyed smoking. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. I was a cigar smoker. I would go and hang out at the cigar bar and have a bottle of scotch with me and sit there and smoke $15 cigars and enjoyed it. I loved tobacco.
I like cigars too, back in the day.
And, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, but at the time she was my girlfriend, and one of the stipulations for getting married was you have to quit smoking. And I kept arguing with her. I would say, "Well, let's get married, and I won't smoke after we get married." And we just kept going back and forth.
Right.
And then finally she said, "Okay, you can smoke up until the day of the wedding, but then you can't smoke anymore." My wife is from the Philippines, so we went to the Philippines to get married. They're very tight family-wise. Those Filipinos, they love their families. They're completely, I mean, there's American families that are tight with their families, but for them, it's a cultural imperative that they are intermeshed with their families.
Right.
So we went there because my family's not really close. So we went to the Philippines, we got married. or we were getting married. We got to the Philippines, and we had 2 weeks until the wedding because we were doing all the final. We had planned everything from America, and obviously we wanted to have time to make sure all the details were worked out, everything. So a carton of cigarettes is like $12 in the Philippines. So I bought like 10 cartons of cigarettes.
Yeah, that's cheap for those of you who don't know. So maybe someone doesn't know. Yeah.
Until the wedding day. And my wife's family, one of her aunts owns a store. And I was getting really good deals on cigarettes, don't get me wrong. So when we came back after we got married, I kept telling my wife, I have all these cigarettes. As soon as I'm done, I don't want to waste them. So I'm just going to smoke all the ones that I have, and then I'll quit. And then I got down to like 5 cartons left, and then the fear started crawling in. It started seeping in, and I was like, oh, I'm going to run out of cigarettes soon. So then I would go to the store and buy 4 packs at a time and slip them in the box. And I did that, and my wife kept going,
sneaky.
How comes you're not running out of cigarettes? And I'm like, well, I'm rationing. I'm rationing them. And she says, I can't. You seem to be smoking just as much as you did before. And I'm like, no, I'm rationing. And then, as time went on, I just forgot to keep putting cigarettes in there. And then one day I looked down and there was 1 pack left.
Panic. And
she saw it. She said, oh, you got 1 pack left. It's getting close.
Damn it.
I'm like, dang it. She saw it. So a couple of days later, it was December 1st of 2011. We were at the mall doing some last minute Christmas shopping or something. And she went into the Bed Bath & Beyond or Bath and Body Works, whatever, the lotiony, soapy, scenty, smelly store. Which always drove me kind of.
I can't remember either.
I can't go into those perfumey stores because the scent killed me. Even when I was a smoker, and my taste buds and my olfactory senses were deadened but I still could not stand going into there. So I stood outside, and there was a little kiosk there, and it was Smoke Anywhere, what it was, and there was this guy there with an electronic cigarette. I still have it here somewhere. And I went up and started talking to him, and
I'm proud of you.
Started telling me about it, and I said, I want one. And he said, $150. And I said, if I quit, then it's $150 well spent. So that was my first electronic cigarette. And that was also the last day I smoked a regular cigarette.
And we all got burned on our first e-cig. I mean, that's the way it used to be. I think that viewers and smokers are lucky today because we can recommend so much better gear than it used to. But yeah, $150, ouch.
Well, I mean, there were no mods.
Right. That's right.
There were no mods. They didn't even, the ego hadn't even been invented yet.
Yeah, but this is a battery, my old purple battery.
That hadn't even been invented.
Before this, it was just fake cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Fakey cigarettes.
I was happy with that. And I used that for a while. And then
I'm glad that worked for you, actually. Was it so you made the switch? So you were sort of a little bit insane at the time and sort of boxed in and made the switch, but you kept to it though. And so it sounds to me like you made the decision.
At one point, I was like, I promised.
Right.
There were, for a while, I was pushing back on the promise, but
right.
At a certain time during this, it was just like, okay, I said I'm going to do it. I'm a man of my word, and I did it.
Yeah. That's so interesting. That's cool. I mean, I've noticed one of the themes that we have on the show is that people are successful after they decide. So you had set up an elaborate, maze of mental hoops to jump through or whatever, and conditions to meet. But when you got there, you did meet them, and because you had made a decision to honor that promise you made, even though for your addiction. It's amazing what addiction does to us. It makes us lie and cheat like he did, and that's crazy addiction. We find out now that the nicotine itself isn't as addictive as all that smoke and arsenic and freaking saltpeter and bad wishes and all the shit in cigarettes. So it's funny how once you quit, you actually stuck with it. But I stress that, you guys, if you're trying to quit, the two things that I stress the most are don't make sure that you decide to quit. Like don't half quit. Just do it or not. So make the decision that you're going to do whatever it takes to quit. And two, don't beat on yourself if you fail a little bit and stumble. You know, your goal is not to never ever smoke another cigarette, although that is the long-term goal, but the real goal is not to be a smoker. And you'll naturally not be a smoker once you smoke less, and then not at all. You won't be a smoker. And if you cheat or you have trouble, has that ever happened to you, Patrick, where you had trouble and smoked a cigarette? Maybe not, maybe.
I mean, I had quit before for short periods of time.
Yeah.
And then always reverted, always backslid. Yeah. And anybody that's ever been in treatment will understand.
Yep.
You know, there's always recidivism, and there's always going to be that. But this time, because I have vaping, and no other time that I tried to quit did I have this.
Right. That's right. We have these. And I'll remind you guys, the difference between this and AA is that if you make a mistake, you don't have to reset anything, and this thing will never judge you. Your vape will never judge you. Just vape it. You'll never get vape. But I actually love, carry your vape around. And remember, more Nick. But I love that story. And it's so funny because I've done crazy mental hoops myself when it came to smoking as well. The last time I started smoking, it was pretty legitimate. My dad passed away, and I just, that I don't even need to explain. Like, that's just a whole bag of stuff that happens to you. So I just got stressed out and I went to Alabama to bury him, and down there a lot of people smoke and stuff. So it wasn't that good.
Well, I mean, traveling the world, smoking is one of the things that's universal.
Yeah.
It seems funny that this is a modern thing. Smoking is only the last 100 years, 150 years.
Yeah.
People have been smoking tobacco before, but smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, pre-rolled cigarettes came around 1850 something to the West.
It's really weird that tobacco is one of those things that unites people all over the world.
Yeah.
This is a problem that everybody in the world can have. And you go to Malaysia, you go to Indonesia, you go to the Philippines, you go to Japan, all over the world, India, Turkey, everywhere.
Australia, Great Britain, Finland, Bulgaria, Russia. That's all the places we have viewers.
Are everywhere. And smokers, if you smoke a cigarette, if you're traveling internationally and you go to the airport and you go to the smoker's hut right in the middle of the airport, they have this little glass room. You go in there with a cigarette, everybody in there has a lighter, or somebody in there has a lighter.
Yep.
And you can start a conversation. I mean, it is a social thing. And without that connection, you can't do that with Chantix. You can't do that with a patch. You go to the airport and
it's true.
There is no other Chantix guy standing there
looking desperate.
Oh, you need help to put your patch on. I mean, but this smoking has always been that way. And now we have something else that gives us that social connection. Yeah. You can go and find a vapor at the airport.
Yeah. In fact, you have to, if you're with the smokers, unfortunately. Yeah. A lot of people are chiming in with their stories too. Like, sometimes people have cheated here and there. Andrew has been vaping 5 months, still craves cigarettes. Of course, you're never going to stop thinking about cigarettes, or you might if you're lucky in a few years, but they're still always there. Double D's had problems when their dog died. I mean, that's how it is. Looks like Al Ohm was 25 years a smoker, 4 years off. He didn't dual use, but he's fallen off the wagon. So, it's like, this is the thing. And it's a difficult thing to quit. And we're all here together to do this, and we're the biggest enabling club ever. But what you just said reminded me that I think it's important for us also not to alienate or beat up smokers. Smokers are us a few years ago. So I've been vaping almost 4 years, but I remember very well that feeling of being desperate and guilty and all that stuff. So be kind to smokers.
And if you listen to my podcast, the last two weeks, I've been quite heavy on this industry and its sudden decision to completely ignore the smoker.
Yeah.
This industry is designed originally, when I started 6 years ago, its only focus was to get people to quit smoking. And sadly, here in the last 2 years.
Yeah, especially the last 2 years.
with the, the sudden thing, anti-nicotine propaganda that we've embraced from our enemies. We are suddenly now Nick shaming people. I see posts on social media all the time. Oh, you vape 12 or you vape 18? Oh my God, that's horrible. And the thing is we know as a community that nicotine is not the dangerous part of smoking.
Right, that's right. We know that. That's not the dangerous part, exactly.
But we've suddenly started doing that. And this whole thing about shaming people that dual use, that's ridiculous. But we still do it. I mean,
I agree.
As a community,
as a community, you're right. I don't do it either. And on our channel, we're inclusive, not exclusive. So we're not looking for ways to alienate some vapors and make friends with other vapors. Everyone is welcome here. And the point is, it's about quitting smoking and reducing the harm of smoking. And it's okay for it to become a hobby and a lifestyle, but it's not okay for you to prioritize that over the basic human respect for the decency of people trying to quit smoking, over the health concerns of people with lung cancer. Don't make me go on and on, because I will.
No.
It's like...
the thing is more people are phasing out of vaping. They smoked, they started to vape, they got down to zero, they titrated down, whatever, and now they no longer need to vape.
That's okay. I encourage that if people want to do that. Yep.
But the thing is there are also numbers that show that there are fewer numbers of new vapors. The market is remaining about the same. It's remaining steady, but that's also because August 8th hit.
Yeah, I was going to say
all these companies flooded the market with new gear.
Yeah, and a lot of samey stuff and a lot of not new stuff. And also they all shut up completely for 2 months. Like they didn't say a goddamn word. And then one or two of them have some advocacy messages now. So it's like, what are you guys doing?
But the sales are remaining about the same. But that's because current vapors love new gear.
Yeah.
So the sales numbers are the same because all this new stuff hit the market. Everybody has to have the new thing, the new shiny thing, and they're buying new gear. But those are not sales of new products to new vapors. Those are sales to existing vapors.
Yeah.
Buying new gear.
But the good news is that I've seen at least 2 new companies quitting gear. I got approached by Casaa recently, which is just one that's just another one that makes stuff that a lot of people who vape the big sum-up stuff might blow off, but I am interested because I have people who smoke cigarettes. I mean, I guess what we're getting back to here is, hey, y'all, let's remember to smoke cigarettes. Or not to smoke cigarettes. Let's remember we're here to reduce the harm of smoking.
And let's embrace the smokers.
Yeah, let's help the smokers.
Because
that's what we're here for.
They are going to be the future of this industry.
Yeah, right.
People that currently smoke will be the vapors of the future if we embrace them, if we target them with our marketing, if we explain and educate, because that's something that we haven't been doing.
Yeah, explain and educate, absolutely.
All the studies are showing 6 years ago, 5 years ago, people thought, the general public knew at that time that vaping was less harmful than smoking.
But not anymore.
The new studies show that only about 30% of the general public believe that vaping is less harmful than smoking.
Yeah, and I deal with this all the time. Like my entire family thinks that I promote marijuana, or they think that I promote something else weird. Like they don't, all my Facebook friends, like they don't understand that this, I mean, honestly, like would someone like me dedicate my entire fucking life, my free time, to anything except for helping people not die? Like that's how serious this is to me, but it seems like people don't understand the gravity of it at all. No, I mean, the audience, by the way, is full of comments about all this stuff too. Like the social I mean, I love the audience. You guys are so great. I can't even repeat half these conversations because there's so many of them. But yeah, we have a lot of participation right now on this topic.
That's good. I mean, people, this should be the thing that gets vapors excited, that gets vapors ready to do whatever they need to do. And my whole goal is, in my show, is to create an educated group about politics, about the science, the technology, and about vaping. Because a lot of people, we have a lot of voters. You know, we're a very diverse group of people that come from different backgrounds, and we may not agree on politics at all. I mean, there are plenty of liberal people that vape. There are plenty of conservative people that vape. There's libertarians that vape.
Literally every demographic. It says it's important to ignore that. The point is that we need to act like the NRA and show up for everything that has to do with vaping and say yes to vaping, no to anything anti-vaping. Just show up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the
And
NRA people do. They just show up and say no. That's what we should
there
do.
are plenty of passionate people on social media about vaping, but when it comes time to actually do something other than click on a button on Facebook or on the internet and to actually get them boots on the ground, it's hard to
Yeah,
get people to go
I
up.
agree. Um, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, just to lighten things up a little bit here, it's about 9:30. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was just, we got your vaping story, which was super duper cool, but also just talk about how you got started doing your channel years ago, like how you got
Oh,
involved in the vaping militia and how that came to pass, and what, I realized it was a different world back then, and you've already kind of skipped ahead and jumped to the part where it's different now. That's exactly
yeah.
right.
Okay,
What
so
was going on that made you start your channel and stuff?
when the militia started 4 years ago, there was a current of people, and this was all started on Vapors TV. I mean, it was one of the hosts on Vapors TV decided that he felt like that the advocacy efforts by the big organizations were not working. They were not doing anything to make any changes,
Yeah.
and he felt like that it was time to bring in new blood. So he and two of the other hosts that were on that network, it's Fred Doucha is the guy that came up with the whole idea, and then he brought in Armando Mendez and Artemis Barker, who were all they all had nicknames on the shows, but those are their
Cool
real names.
names. Fred, Artemis, Armando. Those are cool names.
Yeah, and then they brought in two other guys that were viewers, and they put together the website. They got everything started, and then I was there when they were starting it, and I was, operating behind the scenes. I was writing blogs. I was helping them research, and eventually they said, "Well, we need to expand the board, so we're going to bring you on." And 6 months later, we brought in two more people, and then a little bit later, we brought in two more people. The board now has condensed down to the 6 people that it needs to be. But right now, our brand was more in your face, you know, more of an activist type branding,
Right.
more, uh, you know, get the normal people involved. And at this point, it needs to be more button up, suit and tie kind of people when it comes to going to the state house. And I do that. I put on a suit and a tie and I go,
Yeah.
but I don't go as the militia then. I go as myself. Um, just because you say the word militia in certain circles and people don't understand the history of that word. And they think
Yeah.
of Ruby Ridge, they think of Waco, they think of bad things.
Yeah. White supremacists. It's like,
And
okay, easy.
we're trying to retake that word.
Right.
But it's difficult because the branding was designed specifically to get people excited, people interested, and make them look.
And it's populist too. That's the whole point of the militia, is that it's a populist movement.
Right.
That means it starts here and goes out.
I mean, we were tired of not being told, not being cut into the loop, that the general community didn't understand what was going on. And, our goal was to educate, inform, and to energize and get people, active. And when the deeming regs were originally introduced in April of 14, Casaa said to us, "Hey, we're going to be really busy with this federal level stuff. Could you take over the states or the locals?" So for a year and a half, we wrote every local call to action. We wrote every
That's a lot of work.
alert. I was stuck in this computer when I wasn't working. I was here searching, city websites, looking at city council agendas all over the country. Anytime that there was even a hint that there was going to be an ordinance authored, then it was time. And I picked up the phone. I did yellow page searches, found vape shops that were in those cities. I called them. What are you willing to do? Can you find me the names of 3 to 6 well-spoken vapors from the community that can go and testify if needed? Here's my science packet that I've put together. Oh, do you need help writing your testimony?
Yeah, right.
And, we did that for a year and a half. And then eventually Casaa said, okay, we have the software that we would like to use to do these calls to action. Do you mind giving them back? And we said, sure, because, we got a lot of other stuff that we could do.
What is their software? I'm just curious.
They use an application called CQ Roll Call. It's
Mm-hmm.
a website. It's a big database thing, and it helps you generate form letters.
Yeah, totally.
Basically,
There's a few competitors in that space. Yeah, that's cool.
Emails. My feeling on the matter is that is a great first step, but what else are you going to do? Because politicians will admit to you that they don't read those form letters.
Yeah, exactly right. That's why I tell everybody to, like, you only need to know 3 names. You need to know your House rep and your 2 Senate reps, and they have a person on the office that keeps a list. You just call them and say, I'm Eli. Here's my zip code. I'm a constituent of Patty Murray. I'd like you to ask her to please vote vigorously yes on this thing. Okay, thanks. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Or you say definitely no on this thing. And if she does this, I'm going to unvote her or whatever. You can say whatever you want, but you don't have to make a speech.
I'm a big fan of actual letters. I think that letters are very powerful.
Well, yeah, but you mean not emailed in form letters.
No. I want your personal stories. I want you to write your story down. What I've done over the years is I've put up on our website campaigns to get people, this is how you find out who represents you. This is what your letter needs to say. It needs to have your personal story, how hard it was for you to quit vaping or quit smoking, the health toll that it's taken on you, blah, 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 blah. Put it down. And then once you have it, it's there.
But that's one reason why I do this show. I've got 18 months of that in the can. Not that the FDA ever watches this show, but that's what we do. And it's so weird too, because the activities are not exclusive. Like it's one of the things I see is that when you start saying write a letter, Congressman, people just turn off and they turn away. That's why I'm always start with all you have to do is fucking get 3 phone numbers. And you're absolutely right. If you write a letter with your testimony, it's much more powerful and it goes in the record. And it's a very
not only that, but for them, they have an analytic in their head. Every handwritten letter represents not just you, but it represents about 10 other people that haven't put the initiative together. So when they get a real handwritten letter, in their mind, they're thinking there's at least 10 other people that think exactly this.
Right. So it's weighted high. See, there's a good tip.
So when they come into their office and there's 20 letters from vapors, that actually represents a much larger demographic than just those 20 people. So yeah, real handwritten
20 lobbyists from RJ Reynolds. Standing in the room.
I've been in the state capitol standing with the vapor lobbyist and the 40 or 50 other lobbyists representing big tobacco all in the same room, overpowered. I mean, you feel the amount of pressure.
You feel lawyered up. Al Ohm brought up a really good point, and that is that we were just talking about this a moment ago, about how they should make programs that were focused on smokers rather than vapors. Stop trying to sell vapors on more boobs and cheap e-liquid that tastes like a pancake, and start selling smokers on quitting smoking and starting vaping. You keep drifting to your left, by the way, and don't move any more than that. I've already adjusted the screen once, but soon you'll be on your far left side. Just stay right there. Don't move. It's all good.
I'm frozen.
No, it's all good. It's fine. Anyway, so I couldn't agree more. It's like we really need to change the focus of this stuff towards back to the quitting smoking, and we need to acknowledge that we're hobbyists who need to bring in smokers to help quit smoking, even if they want to be hobbyists and shoot big clouds or whatever. I don't vape. Well, I do vape big clouds, but it's not my favorite thing.
I think vaping can be all things to all people.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have to make sure that every different variation gets represented.
Yeah, I agree. It's got to be something where, I mean, if we all realize that the overall goal is to save 1 billion lives in this century, and forget about that, we can just save 50,000 lives in America this year if we want to. Like, why not? Yeah, exactly. I mean, my girlfriend's grandmother just passed away yesterday of COPD, and this year we had 3 cancers in the family. And I mean, this stuff doesn't end. 90% of all deaths from lung cancer come from smoking or smoking related illnesses. And that is ridiculous. And so we can pretty much directly draw the straight line. So we need to do as we say. But last year we decided it was the courtesy year. And I think we did okay. There weren't a lot of stories this year about lame vapors blowing smoke in old ladies' faces.
I work in healthcare. I
Yeah.
work in physical therapy, and I work a lot in geriatric patients. You know, I do home health, so you go into their homes and you do therapy with them. And I had this guy that I was seeing for about a month and a half, 2 months, and I walked into his house and he lit up a cigarette while he was doing his therapy, and he
Yikes.
was an 88-year-old
Older
man,
guy. Yeah, I was gonna say older guy probably.
and you can't go into somebody's house and tell them you can't do that. This is your house,
Yeah.
So I just worked through it and I explained to the guy, in nice terms. Sometimes doctors will come at you and say, you have to do this. This is not good for you, and you can't do that. So they called me on Monday and they were like, oh, by the way, don't worry about going to see this patient. He passed away. He had a massive stroke. And I'm like,
Oh, that's awful.
but, he did it the way he wanted to do it.
Yeah. And you lived to 88. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
Everyone always says that. No one wants to die. You have to enjoy every day you live. But if I'm still too young to die. I'm not even. My mother died of cancer, and she was 46. I'm 46 this year, so it's a really weird year for me. That
But
I'm
you
going to
have to
outlive
want.
my.
You have to want it.
Yeah, you have to want to live.
You can't just rely on the medicine is going to do it all for me. You actually have to want to quit.
Right, exactly. And this goes back to the decision. It's a mental thing. If you just tell yourself, well, fuck it, I'm just going to suffer. Yeah, it's going to suck. You'll make it. And it's up that nicotine, get a new thing. You're not going to save money, right? We're not talking. You're not going to save any money vaping. This is not about saving money. It's about harm reduction. You're going to spend a lot of money in the beginning struggling to get gear. Although we can recommend some good stuff that only costs $30. It's really cheap.
I don't even want to add up how much money is on my desk.
I know, right? Me too. I'm insane. I'm totally insane. But so, having said that, you can get, an IO kit from Joytech and then vape on that. And it's like, that's a little much for a quitter, but it'll work. And, Innocent kit, whatever, we can help you.
I bought a case of iCares.
iCare, there you go. Or I just asked, iCares.
In probably a case of coils. I have, plenty. And I think that is a fairly decent of those types.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a pod system. It is a refillable system. Because I don't like the price point on the pods.
Me either. I think it's gouging on almost all of them.
So, I actually keep a jewel here for myself because I am a high nic vapor. And if I can't vape, I can pull out the little jewel. I take one drag. I get my 40 milligrams of nicotine, and the day keeps on going.
Right. But I like encapsulated stuff for work situations, for cars, for bathrooms and courthouses. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff is irreplaceable in those situations where you don't need a big cloud.
Even for a new vapor, because my father-in-law still smokes.
Right.
And he has now dual used. That type of device is perfect. It's refillable. You don't have to buy pods. All you need to do is have a bottle of e-liquid and coils. Boom. And it's easy. See, that's the thing is a lot of this new gear. I mean, this is a DNA 200.
Right.
This is not a starter kit, and this is not even complicated as some of these devices are.
No, and when people buy like the Alien 220 kit with the big baby, I'm like, God, that's not a starter kit. Although it does work great and the flavor is good and all that, and you can turn the air all the way down. But a Rouleau RX 300 is not a starter kit. That's
and
not.
I've actually seen smokers come into stores and the store employee try to sell them on something like that.
And are you the one who told me the story recently where some old lady went in? I got this from Instagram DM, and I thought it was you. Old lady goes in, quitting smoking, and they sell her $150 worth of gear. That's like a crazy like sub-ohm tank and all that stuff, and a Rouleau RX 200 with batteries and everything.
That could possibly have been one of my mini rants.
If you don't remember explicitly, it wasn't you, but someone sent me that exact story, and I was so pissed off. I'm just like, God damn it, that's just... Oh, I remember, it was Ottawa. It was in Ottawa. I have another story. In Ottawa, a guy told one of my viewers to vape titanium on watts. Told him. I'm not shitting you. I'm going to out this fucker. Oh, you're lucky my phone's dead. I'm not joking. Oh, it came on. Well, look, we're going to see. I've got to figure out where it was. I can't remember how he showed me. It was some messaging software.
And a 30-year-old smoker walks into a vape shop and asks for a tobacco-flavored e-liquid, and the shop guy says, "We don't have any tobaccos, but we have a really good Fruit Loops." Do you think that somebody that's been smoking for 30 years is going to want Fruit Loops?
Yeah, I do. I disagree on this topic, and this is an often debated topic, but I don't believe in tobacco vape, and I think I like to avoid tobacco vape because they remind me of smoking, and I hate them because they don't taste bad or anything. They just remind me of the ugliest, worst part of my life, and I can't ever forget that, so I don't like them. And I think I've seen it with my own two eyes. It works very well. I say, "What's your favorite dessert?" And they're like, "I don't know, blah blah blah." You get them something similar, and they're like, "Jesus, I love it." I've seen it too many times. So I don't think that there's a rule.
I have seen the opposite.
I mean, I don't think there's a rule. I think that you should have them both.
I think it's individual. And the thing is that's the point, is you should stock your stores with products to serve everybody.
That's true. Because some people like you, for example, in those Van Gogh vapes, tobaccos, you fucking love those things. So it's like, why the hell shouldn't you have that?
Yeah, I have like 5 different vapes with 5 different tobaccos. The only thing that I'm not vaping the only thing that's not a tobacco that I'm vaping is that Hometown Hero.
I can't find that thing, but what happened was the shop owner guy, or the guy that worked him, texted him and showed him a thing. He said, like, "Yeah, you can do this and just don't vape over this and you won't get titanium dioxide." I was like, wow. He was trying to explain how to not get I mean, what the fuck, dude? If I lived in Ottawa, I would walk in that place with the press and be like, "This store is going to be closed in a week because they're about to be outed on the news as being murderers. They're going to permanently harm a customer with that talk."
There's plenty, and this goes back to professionalism.
Yeah.
I've been pretty harsh about this, but there are plenty of people in this industry that 5 years ago they were flipping burgers at McDonald's, and
which there's nothing wrong with that job, but it doesn't qualify you to be CEO of a multi-million-dollar juice company.
I actually did that. Well, it's been longer than 5 years, but
yeah, me too.
The thing is when you can enter this industry with literally zero research. Many people in this industry that have fairly good businesses now because of the hype of their brand or whatever, can come into this industry with literally no hurdles, no research, who do and continue to do nothing to preserve the health of their industry. It's time for those people to leave. And I won't miss them when they go, because a lot of these companies do more harm than good.
I completely agree with you. And the amateur, we talk about this quite a bit. We were talking about it last night, and it came up on my old Phil Basardo interview, which someone commented on last night, and that the whole industry is full of amateurs that are from the wrestling and the rock and the porn industry. And those people don't know anything about marketing. Let me tell you guys, as an informed person, that is not how advertising firms recommend companies market. And it's because advertising firms have actual research on what makes people buy things and what makes people not buy things. And that kind of advertising does not work, full stop, period. Only amateurs do that. So, those people are wasting their fucking time, and they're also alienating a lot of people. So let's just get over that. Let's just get over being bros, sexist fucks. Let's bring the women out. I know dozens and dozens and dozens of you gals out there in the audience right now in my family are hardcore builders who do tricks and all that shit. You just don't have a dick. And that's the only difference between you and these other bros who give you the crap and the guys who own these companies who do that. And I especially feel sick for the women who own companies who do that stuff, because I'm like, how can you be that ignorant as a woman doing that? Because it seems like a woman would have ever done any research at all. Ever. At all. If you do any research, you will see that this is the wrong way to sell things.
Well, I mean, there are plenty of people that are in this industry that in the last year that came into this industry that never bothered to look at any legislative issues, any regulatory issues with their businesses. And then when you hit them up at a show and you say, are you not aware that the FDA is coming after us? Or are you not aware that the city that you live in is, coming after you? And they just dumbfounded.
All they want is that 2014 gold rush, dude. You remember the 2014, early 2015 juice gold rush where anyone could drive a Ferrari if you just knocked off 8 juices and put a website up? I mean, these days are over now, thank God. But like Van Gogh has and AZ Swag Sauce have killed the competition. Most of the tiny ones are gone. But I hate those days. Those people were a cash grab crowd.
Well, and there are still companies out there that will sell you 120 mils for $10, and you don't even realize that if they can sell you 120 mils for $10, it's because A, they haven't invested in manufacturing facilities. They haven't.
Right.
They're not paying their employees worth a damn. They're not, participating in advocacy. They're not, doing anything to preserve the health of their industry.
Their costs are too low.
And, obviously I know how much it costs to make e-liquid. And there's plenty of people in this industry that are also, probably profiting too much.
Yeah, of course they have more. I mean,
But
last year I made
how much to charge for something they make.
Oh, I did. Last year I went on record. I shot the shot across the bow. I told iJoy and everybody else, no more. No more $25 fucking 30 mils on retail. No more. And they did. Now they half the price, all of them.
So yeah,
we did influence them. We yelled and they were charging too much. They were gouging people. Now a 30 mil, now you get 60s for $25 most of the time in retail, and that's a much better deal. It's still not cheap.
Well, considering there are people in this industry, or there's vapors, there's consumers in this industry that vape through 60 mils in 2 days, less.
Well, this is part of the conspiracy of the industry to give you a bigger gas guzzling thing, right? With less and less flavor. Like Patrick here, y'all, vapes on, 18 to 30 watts most of the time on his avocados with various builds, flavor builds. He gets good gas mileage on all this, on battery life on all this, unlike us.
On a bad day, I might use 6 mils.
Yeah, there you go.
Really heavily vaping.
Yeah, there you go. And so this concept is called exposure, and Phil and Dimitri and a lot of people claim and are saying that we should watch how much exposure that we have. And I personally am in the middle here. Like, I try to expose myself to as little as possible, and I detest the super air vaping. I mean, if I'm doing a cloud comp, great. But when I'm vaping for myself, it's like 70 or 80 watts and it's on freaking no air, like closed air.
The issue is in there, Dr. Farsalinos did a study on VG.
That was the name that I was looking for, yeah.
To explain, that volume vaping is what I call it, when the massive volumes of vaping. You're exposing yourself to a lot more of these chemicals.
All of them.
Because you're churning through way more e-liquid.
Naturally so.
We do know that PG and VG are relatively safe. We do know that nicotine has been studied for years and years and centuries and all this, and we understand that. But we don't know everything, and we don't know about the high quality quantities that we're bringing into our bodies.
And the ingredients are from all over the place. This is a major concern, is the ingredients could be in a ware, it could be this, it could be your local store, it could be extracted poorly, you know what I mean? Like, this is where I believe the FDA should be involved, is protecting us from bad. Like, I believe that the FDA should be used the way we use it for everything else, is that we should set the standards for, and science should set the standard for what we think, and then the FDA should make the juice companies fall in line. Not pay $1 million a flavor and all that. I mean, if they should put numbers on it, not max VG, the most useless thing I've ever seen. They should show us testing information. They should disclose all this stuff and have actual science behind it, and then sell it to us that way, instead of all this smoke and mirrors type stuff that they do.
You do realize the FDA does not test anything.
I know they rely on third-party testing, but that's a technicality. My point is that the FDA enforces it and sets the standards by law. So setting the standards by law is really what I'm talking about, and having the government be a participant instead of an opponent. That's really
no. I do need to correct something though. When you're a pharmaceutical company and you're producing a new drug, you pay for all of the testing.
I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about food. Even food goes through this. Yeah, I know. So what?
When you hand in your studies, you're paying the scientists who did those to produce those. And we're finding many times now that the FDA are blank checking all of these tests without actually requiring there to be any
Yeah, I'm not making any statement on how things work now. I was describing how it should work, and that is the function of the FDA is what I
Well,
described. So
yeah, it's just
obviously
not
it's
what it
not
is.
working, and I think everyone already knows that. But I know for a fact that that is how the FDA should work, and that's what I tell my Congress people is that that's what I want. I want the FDA as a participant doing the correct thing instead of being an alienated outsider. I'm not a libertarian, man. I think government's important. I think it's idiotic to pretend we could have no government. That's never existed in the world of
No,
man.
no.
We've never had a world like that, and we never
We
will.
need reasonable and
Yeah,
fair regulation.
right.
There needs to be.
Yeah, but it's a complete myth that those two words aren't already implied. I mean, obviously we want reasonable and fair. That's like saying I'd like to breathe both nitrogen and oxygen today. Like, yeah, obviously I call that air. So government is necessary. It's not a debate about whether we need it or not. It's idiotic that we have this climate in the United States where they've fooled a lot of people into thinking it's unnecessary, but what that is really a looting scheme from a very small number of rich people. They can fool you into thinking that, we spend too much on government, and what they're really doing is taking away everything you've got and putting it in their pocket. Anyway, don't get me started. I'm going to press stop. Stop.
My pockets are empty.
Yeah, I know mine too. They're sucking wind. Like you can hear it on the bike. We have a jillion comments, and I told everyone that I'm just excited. I'm having a great time. I'm Juicy Jones. This is Patrick Riffe. And we're talking on Vaping Dawn to Dusk. And for those of you who just tuned in, I didn't do any identification for the last hour, but you guys are so great and we're having a good time. I told everybody in the audience that we're going to take questions and stuff. And so, yeah, I'm going to start screwing around. A lot of people talk about the various levels of deals they get and how much trust they have in the companies. Like people like a good deal, but they don't trust super low prices either. And there's a big difference geographically. Like there's all kinds of talk here about how a good price in the UK is £20 for 60. And then in the US, like Van Gogh Vapes in Canada sells their bottles for about the equivalent of $20 a 60-ish, something like that in the US. And then they get cheaper.
That's also a currency. For us, it's a currency upgrade.
Exactly. It's a little bit cheating for us because we get a currency trade and we get a discount because of the Juicy Tones HQ code. It's like, but
I don't know why anybody wouldn't take that.
I don't know. It's just such a good deal.
Because, I mean,
your whole 9-pack was like $100. Was it $109 or something for a 9-pack of 30s?
And it was here super fast. And everything that I've tried so far has been amazing. I mean, it is very good quality stuff. And I was messaging them yesterday and I wrote some reviews for their website. So
that's so good. Yeah, it looks like Ian goes through 10 mils a day. You go through 6 or 9. Tommy goes through 40. I probably go through 15 to 30 a day if I'm not testing stuff, just on my own, running around. Maybe not even that much. Maybe definitely 15. I'll tell you that. So whatever. I never measured. I probably should.
Well, no, I just know how many tanks I need to refill or not refill because a lot of times I actually change cotton before I refill the damn tank because it's been sitting. And I don't like, even if I didn't vape it for a couple of days and I only vaped it a little bit before I put it down, I still want to replace the cotton.
Yeah, totally. And, I caution people also. I'm always cautioning people against low quality e-liquid. It's like, oh my gosh, there's almost everything. First of all, I have a generally low, I don't know if people realize this, but I have a generally low opinion of e-liquid. And most of the e-liquid I get, I don't like. And a lot of it is that it is just poorly formulated or it's just low quality ingredients or there's a number of reasons why they're obviously bad.
I think a lot of people have gotten into the point now where they think that they have to make their e-liquids super, super, super complex. Right. 15 or 20 flavors. Some of these you read them and you go, this is just too much.
Yeah, totally. Especially with the fruit. It's like, okay, I don't need 7. Why not 5 like last year?
Why can't you just make a damn good strawberry vape? Right. Why does it have to be strawberries and 15 other fruits?
Right. And like look at Van Gogh. I hate to just plug Van Gogh all day long, but it's my new favorite hobby is plugging Van Gogh. They've got the Eaten Mess, which is the strawberry whipped cream thing, and they've got this Ichigo. And the Ichigo, it's like what? It's another strawberry. Japanese strawberry. Now I have to choose between them. I was arguing with the guy from Van Gogh about which one was better. He's like, no, I like Ichigo. I'm like, I don't know, man, that whipped cream. I'm like, no, I can't fucking decide. But they aren't complicated. They are strawberry, One has cream, one has a little pastry. Like,
Why is it that it has to have everything?
the kitchen sink.
And I think when you put everything in there, everything masks out everything else. It's just crazy sometimes.
Yeah. And for those of you who are viewers who don't know, or maybe you're new to the channel, I do tons of DIY and tons of DIY on this channel. And so you can look, there's a playlist here. We do it on Instagram Live. We do it on live.me. We do a lot of DIY. And the reason I do DIY is, one, it's fun as hell. I can experiment with flavors, and I save money so I can afford to buy e-liquid. If I didn't do DIY, I couldn't afford buying e-liquid, I don't think.
And I tried DIY and I was horrible
Really?
at it.
I know the feeling. It actually required, even simple ingredients requires patience and forethought, and it's not that easy. I mean, it is easy and it's not at the same time. Like you have to have this commitment to staring at a bottle for 2 weeks and shaking it all the time, being like, If I didn't have other e-liquid, I don't think I could do it, because I have some to review and I've got some that's steep, and I've got choices, and that works for me. We've got some comments about the new regs in England, or I'm sorry, in the UK, about their TPD and all that stuff, and how
TPD is crazy. I mean, the biggest bottle that you can buy is 10 mils.
At Tea Party LA, you can't have had a mutation XV3 for 4 years because it came out last March.
This is impossible.
Yeah, that's right. You can't buy that.
This is impossible.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it was funny. I saw on Instagram the other day, and somebody said, like, yeah, I've had my Rouleau RX300 for 4 years. I was like, what? And it came out last November or something like that. So look at your calendar, guys. Make sure you look at your calendar. Time flies is the lesson. It feels like it was just a few seconds. I'm just kidding.
We're having so much fun.
Oh my God, yeah. And Chili Dog says that here in France, bonjour, my friend, mon ami. Chili Dog says that there in France, you can't buy more than 10 mils. There's any nick in it. And obviously, they're just going to sell no nick and let you buy nicotine. It's just, the whole thing is so perfunctory and so pedantic and so stupid.
Oh, and they even have a limit on the size, how many mils your tank can hold.
That's right. That's right. It's asinine. Although there's some very attractive, I must say that I love the look of all the tanks with the little 2 mil tanks or whatever, or 10 mil. I just like little tanks anyway. So the side effect is I think there's some pretty attractive little tanks out there, but you got to fill them up every 2 minutes. Double D's have been buying up the big bottles while she can. Yeah, they're almost gone. Yeah, that's great. Let me do a time check because I have no idea how long we've been on either. I always forget to do that. I think I'll actually check it out. This is such a good time. This is my favorite time of the week. It's, oh, we're over. We got to go. But there's no fire. It's not like it's going to be bad. All right. So you guys are great. Patrick, let's just tell everybody I'm Eli Juicy Jones. This is Juicy Jones HQ. This is Patrick Riffe.
This is my office.
That's right. And we're just doing an interview today. It's been Vaping Dawn to Dusk. We've had a great day. We've covered everything from his vaping story to how annoying it is to have sexy models at vape shows and stuff. And I really want to thank everybody for tuning in. You guys are great, and this channel is here for you. So if you have ideas or questions or anything, enter them in the comments. Make sure that you watch the video that's labeled the 2016 New Vape Mod Giveaway, because we're going to give away this beautiful mod. And that video, I'll tell you how to enter. It's in the video. And join us on Instagram. What about you, Patrick? Got anything to say?
I just, I want everybody to make an effort. Make an effort to talk to a smoker, make an effort to pick up the phone and call your representative, do something positive to make some sort of change. The world, I have this touchscreen mod, and I put on there a graphic, and it says, the world is not going to change itself, and there's a sign, and it says, sorry for the inconvenience, we're trying to change the world.
Yeah. That's a great message. That's exactly right. Go do something, you guys. And you can call your congresspeople. In fact, we talk about this all the time. Hit me up on Instagram. I'll tell you exactly what to do. Patrick knows exactly what to do. We'll turn you on to his podcast. Make sure you follow him on Instagram and me.
And tonight at 10 p.m. Central.
At smokefreeradio.com.
Liberty Radio.
Is it com?
Yeah.
Okay.
Smokefreeradio.com.
I always forget which one it is. Yeah, smokefreeradio.com tonight, 10 Central. Listen to his podcast. And I love all you guys. Thanks a lot. Let's vape out, buddy. Oh, I hit my lip. Thank you.